All right, guys, and welcome back to the tailgate, where we're going to also show you some brush demo here at the same time. And we're going to talk about brushing stucco and rough surfaces versus brushing a smooth surface and sash and trim. More often, people will have a lot more angle tip brushes in their arsenal than they do straight cut. So they'll have a lot of these style brushes here. You notice I have more straight cut than angles. These are just a couple of angles that I bought when I was at a store. I just needed something for a little job, and all they had was angles in a cheap brush like that. And this is actually a really good brush. It's just cheap. It was cheaper than anything else at Home Depot, and I didn't want to get a piece of garbage. These here are Avanti from Harbor Freight, and they actually work really pretty good. The wooden handle Avanti ones are not bad. The ones even a little bit lower grade than this work okay. And, you know, they're not great brushes. They don't last forever, but they actually work pretty well for a very cheap price. So if you're at Harbor Freight, and, you know, I think these were like $5 or something like that, or even less than that maybe. But if you're at Harbor Freight, you might want to grab yourself a few of these because they're just really nice. If you've got a new guy, you're training them, you don't want him to wipe out your nice oval Corona, you know, $30 brush versus you give him a $5 one. And he can actually produce pretty well with one of these. But again, I've said this in other videos, and guys don't listen. They just still think they learn. It's a monkey see, monkey do thing. Guys they see somebody else using an angle tip brush, and they think that they're better, that they know something that they don't. And so it's kind of a novelty to see somebody with an angle because, you know, you think, wow, you can really get into corners with this. When you can actually get into a corner just as easy by backing up your brush. You see how I'm pushing it backwards into a corner? You can get corners painted just fine with a flat brush. And how many corners are there on a wall? There's 4, right? In a building, everything's square or rectangle, right? So you got 4 corners. So if you're a little tiny bit slower brushing in a corner, if you're interior and you're brushing in a corner and you're just a little tiny bit slower because you're not using the angle to get in there, it might be a little faster on the corner, you're going to be faster on the rest of the walls because you've got a flat brush. And it's because 2 things. Number one, you're using 2 different directions. You can use this brush both directions. You can use it this way, you can use it this way. This brush, you cut in this way, and you have to flip it really to cut this way properly with it. You can cut it like this. People will do that. You'll see guys go throwing it upside down, and then the brush gets paint. It makes it suck paint up into the heel. It doesn't work as well. So you really should be using it, flipping it, and going back and forth. So that motion, when you're doing walls, slows you down. And if you're using one of these, you can be much faster in interior walls. But painting stucco, which we'll show you the demo in this video, is much better to use one of these brushes. Number one is because when you use this brush and you're painting stucco, it's like using this one and holding it this direction only, okay? Because this is angled. All right, and it's not as stiff. It won't release paint into the stucco as easily as one of these does. So I had the guys cutting in stucco the other day, and they were, of course, grabbing their normal angle brush, and I was using a flat brush. And the reason I selected a flat brush was I usually will select one first. I select an angle only when I need it. So I use a flat brush because it's stiffer. When you're pulling it through the thing, it will actually follow into the cracks better than this one will kind of skate over them because of the angle of it. You'll be pulling it and it will actually these little bristles will go over the stucco, and you'll have to go 2 directions, versus you could do it almost in one, doing it this way or just doing it this way. You can, and it takes a little bit less time to do it, so you get a little more mileage, you're a little faster. But what guys have done is, because they stay with a habit. I learned this way, and this is the way I'm always gonna do it. So they don't want to learn anything else. And guess what? When you do that in life, what happens? Comment below. When you don't learn, what happens? You become average. That's just the way it is. You don't get faster. You don't get better. You just be complacent, and you never move forward in life. So the whole thing is to learn. These videos are about learning to paint better and paint faster. So if you use a straight cut brush, you're going to find, and you have to just pick one of these up, and you have to just make yourself do this. Limit your supply of these and have more of these, and just stop using these, and then use them when you need them. And once you've done that, after 6 months or a year, you'll be thanking me in the comments below. You'll be like, oh my God, I just can't believe how much faster I am now that I'm using a straight brush instead of using an angle. Let's talk about why again. The angle tip, what happens is, after you're using this for a while, what happens is the brush only holds paint on this portion of the brush. Okay, this portion now is gone. This starts to bend outward, and it starts to not hold and release paint as well. So you start doing things like this. You start flipping it over and using it this way when it's not really designed for that. This brush here is designed for wood sash windows. Really, the biggest reason they made these was for diamond sash windows. That's what they're made for. Yeah, guys use them for walls. They use them for all kinds of stuff because of the 4 corners in the room. 1, 2, 3, 4 times that you might be a little bit faster with this brush than with this one. And it basically takes practice to do. Drop your brush, push it backwards, back it up into the corners, go this way, back it up in the corner. See how it lifts up that edge and makes it away from there? Back it up, boom. Back it up, boom. Once you get good at doing that, that won't even slow you down. But on the wall portion, when you're trying to get good coverage, you'll be getting better coverage with this because you'll be lighter on your tips. So I talk about this a lot on brushing. Pushing down gives you better control. Lighter gives you better coverage. So now, a lot of times when you had to double coat a room, you're going to get it in one on the cut. So, guys will still fight me on that. Oh no, you got to put 2 coats in your cut every time. No, I used to do everything 1 cut and then go around, roll it, and it would cover completely with 1 coat. And the other big problem that guys do is they'll use a weenie roller and they'll cut in like a giant cut like this, 12-inch cut on there, which is another thing that'll slow you down because you've got a weenie roller and a brush in your bucket. That slows you down. If you have just a brush in your bucket, you're going to be a lot faster than if you have a Slim Jim and all this. It's like the tin can man, the one-man band walking around with all your tools. It's much easier if you have just one tool. There's times when you need to do that, but not all the time. So if you can learn to use one of these, you're going to be faster. You just will. It just takes practice. It takes getting out of the norm of the monkey see, monkey do that everybody else is doing. And the reason they did that is they saw somebody else do it. It wasn't about being better or faster. They just thought, oh, those angle tips look cool. Maybe I'll get one of those. And then they cut in some corners with it. And they went, wow, that's easier to do the corners. But they didn't think about how much they were losing on the straight parts of the wall. So anyway, this is a epidemic that's happening in the paint industry. There's you guys who use flat brushes, comment below and tell me if I'm right on that. You guys who use angles, you're not going to know because you don't use this flat brush long enough. You need to use it more And then after you're using it for 6 months, you're not going to disagree with me. Anybody who uses a flat brush all the time and uses an angle when you're supposed to, which is, you know, French doors, you can be a little faster with an angle sometimes. You'll be faster on the corners because you have lots of corners on a French door, right? You have a 12 light French door or 6 light French door or 12, you know. A single light French door, I'll use a straight. For a 12 light, I'll use an angle. Okay, a nice 2.5, about this size, and I can get into the corner, tap my corners in because you have a lot more corners. That is what this brush was made for. Cutting in walls, cutting in stucco with it, completely a waste of time. You're just throwing away money. You get better coverage and you get better more speed with a straight brush. Just bottom line. But yet again, like I say, I've seen guys where they don't even have one of these. Not even one. All they have is angle cuts. And I go, well, I don't know where you learned that, but monkey see, monkey do, got you. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys a little bit later. Hopefully this helps you and you can see some of the stuff. I don't know if I'll have it picture in picture or whatever, but hopefully it worked out on the edit. And you can see me cutting in with a straight brush. And, you know, you can be lighter on the tips, you guys. Lighter on the tips, better coverage. That's what it's all about. Amateurish is pushing hard on the brush. You can be a pretty good painter and push hard on your brush. But a really good painter is light on his tips. He knows how to be light on his tips and get better coverage. That's what it's all about. Talk to you in the next video. Please like, share, and subscribe.